Join me in welcoming to the stage of Unsigned Soul, my main man, Marcus Myers. How you doing, Marcus?
I'm good. I'm good. Yeah.
I don't even know where to begin. When I describe your music, flavorful, colorful, fragrant, alchemical, that's what I think of it. What about you? How would you describe?
Well, definitely, you got me topped on that. um, I would say there's a depth to what we do. It's very vast and deep, especially just for creative sake, like not doing one particular genre. So I try to have it to be more expansive, and whatever it comes, comes, and then other people can kind of define it or label it and put it in boxes. So for me, I would say I feel more of an openness, kind of like just a vastness to what we do, like a wall of sound.
Well said.
Yeah.
I think that describes it perfectly
Oh, thank you.
because you can't really pinpoint a particular genre, but it's all good. There's a high level of spirituality or a spiritual connection,
Yeah,
if you will.
absolutely.
You know, where you from, man?
All right, so most people don't know this. I'm originally from D.C. I was born in D.C., right? But I came here when I was 3, and I'm going to be 30 this summer. So when I tell people, they say, you from Philly?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm from
Yeah,
Philly.
man, we claiming you now,
yeah,
man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm from Philly, so that's where I'm from.
Okay. When did I don't want to say entertainment bug, let me rephrase. When did you know that you were musical or musically inclined?
Well, I think it's the kind of familiar origin story of most musicians. I was little, banging on pots and pans. My mom saw that and then invested in a drum set for me. So I think it had a lot to do with being in church, being exposed to God and praise and adoration and worship. And then I just connected with drums. By chance it just happened to be drums. And so I think at an early age I knew that I wanted to do music, or rather that I was connected to music in some way on a deeper level than just listening to it.
Got you. So how long have you been a professional musician?
Um, Yesterday, no. That's what it feels like. But I would say professionally maybe 7 years now.
All right.
7
That's
years.
all?
Yeah, because I don't really count college. I feel like the older that I get, I feel like I move that start time up a little bit more.
We all do that, brother.
Right,
Me too.
because I think a lot of times it was more passion than it was purpose at that moment for me. And I equate professionalism for me as having a focus and objective.
Got you.
So I think before I was just kind of playing, but now it's more of a profession for me.
Got it.
Yeah.
There is a healing element, like a literal healing element. I've listened to your music. There's a healing element to your music. Where does that come from?
Well, the easiest answer is Christ. That's where it comes from. That's where it comes
Okay.
from.
All right.
And from that relationship, basically what people are hearing, if they care to listen or they catch a show, they're basically seeing my life and relationship through sound. That's all they're hearing. So songs like Anchors or Flesh and Spirit, those songs are things that really have monuments in my life. I can pinpoint different times where I was, what I was going through, happy moments, sad moments.
Got you.
So I think a lot of that healing aspect is just walking with Christ. And then the way I minister, the way I talk about it happens to be music. That's my language. So what people are hearing is just a reflection of my relationship. That's it.
I understand. I mean, that is the way that the Most High does speak. He speaks through sound
Yeah, yeah,
and he speaks through color,
yeah.
without a doubt. And your music is very, very colorful.
Thank you.
Now, um, you recently had, I don't want to call it a tragedy.
You're right, right,
I would just call it, in my shallow perspective, a loss.
right, right.
Do you wish to share?
Yeah. So, and this actually started with my wife. I was surprised that she kind of was very brave and courageous to talk about this on social media. So, not too long ago, we lost the baby that we were expecting, and that was kind of one of the, not kind of, that was a tough moment. And things happen in life, and I usually wonder. Everybody wonders why. But I think the beautiful thing about being connected with God, and being in a relationship with Him is, if I never find the answer to the why, there's a peace that I have in understanding that everything that He does is it through the lens of love. Everything. So it feels like a loss, but me and my wife look at it as divine intervention in some way. We never know what could have happened down the line. And this is not me trying to be optimistic in the midst of what could have been or what should have been. But if God is sovereign, one thing I've learned is that He's sovereign over the good and the bad. He's not just sovereign over like a particular area of things. So, but also when, I wouldn't say bad things happen. I mean, yeah, bad things, unfortunate things happen. I had to step back and say, you're a loving God. And just like we have a daughter now, and there's some things that she doesn't understand, that she wants. But if I give it to her, it would hurt her.
Yep.
She doesn't understand it's through the lens of love. She just thinks it's through the lens of my daddy's being mean. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, going through that process and seeing and really feeling, I think that's the thing with I think, I don't want to say Christianity at large, but I think it's important to share these stories. Because once you become a Christ follower, or, you're not exempt from life.
That's
life
right.
happens.
That's right.
Life happens.
That's right.
And I think to paint this fairy tale that I'm exempt from all things, that's not true. But I won't be consumed by anything. I think that's the difference.
I got it.
That's the difference.
That's excellent. Perfect observation. Even in my own life, as years have gone on, you have to learn the ways that the Most High impacts your life on your personal individual walk. When certain things happen that you don't deem to be the best thing.
Right.
It's really funny. Now that I'm getting older, and I'm a little older than you, just a little bit, okay?
All right.
You go through those times when it's like, oh my God, this is happening to me. Then you go through your depression. Then you go through your over exuberant prayer and supplication. And as time goes on, your change comes, and you don't even remember when that change started to take place.
Right.
So what I have been trying to do in my life is, why don't we cut through all of that stuff in the beginning? Because if what you deem to be a terrible thing was really meant to take you out, let's go back over your life and think about how many times you were in that situation.
Right.
And if that was actually true, well, what are you doing here?
Right. Right.
How did you end up here?
Right.
So you're right, He is sovereign.
Yeah.
And He can do whatever it is that He wants to do.
Absolutely.
Tell me how Ode to Omni came to be. I mean, this is a mix of different but phenomenal musicians that appear to be of like mind. Now, I'm a band leader of an 11-piece band.
Woo.
So
That's tough.
there are struggles
Yeah.
with trying to get this number of people
Right.
with their own different personalities, with their own different thought patterns, with their own different agendas, to come together to produce something that will be viable.
Right.
How did you do it?
Wow, I still try to figure that out because I look at the band that I have, and that this might be the third iteration of like a new group. I only have one member who has been with me since the beginning, and that's Rick.
Okay.
Only one member. And the place that I'm at now, I am so grateful because I don't have great musicians. I have great people. And this is not to deem anybody bad that I
Nah,
had
man.
before, but I also think things come to you when you're at the level to be ready for them.
Yep.
So I think the bands that I had in the past, they were teaching me, and I was learning. So now it's almost just a blessing to be in this season with these group of people, and it's phenomenal. But Omni came about at UArts. I went to University of the Arts, and I did
Give them some University of Arts Philadelphia,
yeah,
y'all.
yeah.
They and now I'm not surprised. Yeah, they put out
Yeah.
like phenomenal musicians. They've been doing it for years.
Yeah.
You know.
And I had a senior recital, and I was just saying that I want I have a saying that I want my life to be an ode to God, just a dedication to Him. So I was thinking about band names. I knew after my senior recital, basically it was kind of like a night like this. Mm-hmm. It was like, I want to do this for the rest of my life. Mm. So it's not until my senior year of college I figured out this is what I wanted to do.
Wow.
And that was 7 years ago.
Okay.
And then Ode to Omni, Ode to Omnipresent, Ode to God.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
You have had a certain level of success. You have a family.
Yes.
How do you balance the two? Because like I know, aspiring to be a full-time musician,
Right.
or being a full-time musician that, wants to expand their horizons, and not just for monetary gain,
Right.
but because your stories, your music, your colors, your numbers, your art is intended to heal folks,
Right.
to break bonds, to soothe spirits.
Right.
How do you balance?
Well, that's one of the things that I've kind of been cycling through now. And to be honest with you, I think I just had a revelation about this. I had a lot going on, so now I'm in school as well to get my master's. So, thank you. So it's a little bit of everything. And then I realized that necessarily it's not balance all the time, but it's more of priority in what season am I in. So when my daughter was born, I rarely played any music for that first year. I was just working on the album. We didn't really play out. I didn't play with a lot of people because I realized that needed to be the focus, or how I needed to adjust myself in that season. And the thing about seasons, they're constantly changing.
That's right.
So in one season, I might need to, I'm always focusing on my family, but there might be a time where I need to draw back and spend extra more time with my family. Mm-hmm. Or it might just be one of those things where God might release me and say, hey, go on tour. But I know that I have to do them in seasons. I have to move when I'm supposed to move. Because if you try to balance everything, you probably won't do everything as good as you could have done it if you just focused on the things that you needed to focus on.
Makes perfect
Right.
sense. I've listened to your music. I think the first time we met, it was at World Cafe Live. Mm-hmm. And you were on the same stage, on the same card with Vertical Current.
Yeah.
Yeah, another one of my superhero bands, man.
Shout out to Chris Stevens.
Yes, indeed. And his whole family, man.
Yes, sir.
I mean, they're fantastic people.
Yes.
When we met, I don't even know the proper adjective to use. Hypnotized, mesmerized, enthralled, enthused. The music itself was phenomenal. But there was just this powerful feeling of love and reverence coming from you guys. It was amazing.
Wow.
Give me a little bit of a background on one of my favorites that you did, Anchor.
Oh, yes. So when I originally wrote Anchors, I was touring with a band, I think maybe 2013, 2014. We were overseas. So the song was originally never about me. This was one of the first songs, or maybe one of the few songs I wrote based off of something I saw. So we were on tour. The bass players, Baby, he had his wife come on tour as well. She got sick. She was 1 year old. So what happened was it was kind of a life or death situation.
Wow.
And this was at the beginning of the tour in Europe.
Wow.
So we're not at home. So they had to make this tough decision. He decided to keep on with the tour. We had like 13 shows or something like that. Mm-hmm. And then the mother and the child had to stay in Switzerland. And they're dealing with the language barrier, insurance. And I looked at that situation, I said, and they're Christian, and I said, you have to have something that's anchoring you besides money, besides human love, as we call it, you know, besides just the things that we have, because at that point, none of those things mattered. You needed something deeper than that to anchor you. So I wrote it for them, right? And then 3 years later, that song actually came back to me because I suffered pretty much a nervous breakdown.
Really?
Yeah. So many people may not know this. So I was diagnosed with OCD. I had it my whole life. I never knew that I had it. It was just something I lived with. It was normal.
Right.
It was manageable. And then one day, I got a really crazy phone call from somebody, and they got taken advantage of. And then that sent me into a spiral. Because my mind was kind of like trying to process something. In OCD, you're trying to make things right, but you can't make that right.
Compartmentalize things.
So it's literally to the point where I'm at a mental institution checking in to get seen.
Really?
Yes. With people who can't dress themselves. They couldn't drive themselves. You want to talk about humble?
Yeah.
Like there's people walking off in the distance, babbling crazy stuff, and I drove myself. I got dressed. I signed myself in, and I'm sitting in the same room as them. And then I realized I was very stubborn. I didn't want to admit that I had a problem. I could fix this. It can go away.
Right.
But through that whole ordeal, God showed me grace. It was all about grace and not being perfect, because OCD is just kind of wanting things to be perfect. So that song actually came back and actually like reached out to me and helped me like 3 years later.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fantastic, man.
Thank you.
Well, I'm glad that you're much better now.
Thank you.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, the world needs you, brother.
Thank you, brother.
Well, I normally ask my artists when they come on the show, how long do you think that you will be able to do what you're doing to reach whatever your ultimate goal is, whether it's financially, whether it's as far as acknowledgement. I don't necessarily mean, being a celebrity,
Right.
but just to have your work and your art recognized.
Right. I go through these cycles of trying to feel like, what is success? We were talking about that a little bit earlier. What is success? And I think for me, music, my goal doesn't change. It's to introduce people to Christ in a way that's unique, honest, not like stereotypical, what people think the church is like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I try not to do that, or rather, that's not what I'm called to do.
Got you.
So I think, I don't know when, maybe I won't do music anymore, but I know the mission statement for my life doesn't change. It's just so right now, this is a vehicle that I'm honored to do. I couldn't imagine myself not doing music because, God blessed me with the gift.
Right.
But it might change, So I'm open. It depends on the season.
Got you. Back to the season. I got you.
Yeah.
All right, man. Fantastic. Now,
Thank you.
we're going to take a little break, and when we come back, you're going to do one of your songs for us, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, Marcus Myers of Ode to Omni. Stay right there. Don't you dare go nowhere. Unsigned Soul. We'll be right back. As always, we'd like to thank our sponsors. Suzanne Burgess of Suzanne Burgess Design, under the House of Burgess. La Vie Creates. They make your events magical. Just Love Images, your one-stop shop for all of your video and photography needs. Delaney's Soul Food Restaurant. It's good food, not fast food, and it's food made with love. And last but not least, Jam 24/7 Studios. The magic happens right here.
Hi, I'm Tom Watson, owner of Jam 24/7 Sound. We're a full-service audio-video facility. We offer support for working and aspiring musicians. We have a performance stage, rehearsal space. We offer audio-video recording facilities and services. We're conveniently located between Philadelphia, Baltimore, Washington vicinity off of I-95. We're open 24/7 by appointment. I can be reached via text or telephone at 302-367-4647, and I look forward to working with you.